Vrindaya Tulasideveya Priyaya Kesavasasha Vishnu Bhakti Pradidevi Satyavate Namo Namaha. Tulasi Maharani Ki.
We offer our most respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees, Lord, who just like desire trees, fulfill the desires of everyone, and they are full of compassion for the fallen, conditioned souls. Vanchakalpatarivyascha kripasindhuvebhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hey, Krishna. Hey, Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhare Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhare Yasodanandana Braja Jananandana Yasodanandana Braja Jananandana Munatera Vanachare Yamunatera Vanachare Vanachare Jaya Radhuman Oma Kunya Bihari Jaya Radha Kunya Bihari Gopi Jana Pranava Girivardhare Gopi Jana Balaba Girivardhare Yasodhanandana Prajajana Randavuna Yasodhanandana Prajajana Randavuna Munatera Vanachare Yamunatera Vanachare Jayo Radho Madhava Kunya Vihahuti Jayo Radha Madhava Kunya Vihahuti Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravedikacharya O Suteta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Friends, say Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavadam Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Jagadada Sami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Gaur. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Budale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravati Pacharni Nivasesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Dejatarni. So we are reading from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 38th chapter, text 14. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Tam Tu Aja Nunam Mahatam Gatem Gurum Trilokya Kantam Drashiman Mahotsavam Rupam Gadanam Shriya Ipsitap Sadpadam Drakshe Vamasan Ushasaha Sudarshanaha Tang Twajanunam Mahatam Gatim Gurum Gurum Trilokya Kantam Drishiman Mahotsavam Rupam Dadanam Shriya Ipsitapspatam Drakshe Mamasan Usaha Sudarshanaha Tam Tvajjanunam Mahatam Gatim Gurum Trilokyakantam Drishiman Mahotsavam Rupam Dadanam Shriya Ipsitaspadam Drakshe Mama Sanusha Sasudarshana Tam Tvajjanunam Mahatam Gatim Gurum Trilokyakantam Drishiman Mahotsavam Rupam Dadanam Shriya Ipsitaspadam Drakshe Mamasan Ushasa Sudarshana. Okay. Ladies. Alrighty. Tam, him. Tu, yet. Aja, today. Nunam, certainly. Mahatam, of great souls. Gatem, the destination. Gurum, and the spiritual master. Trilokya, of all the three worlds. Kantam, the real beauty. Drishimat, for all who have eyes. Maha Utsavam, a great festivity. Rupam, his personal form. Dadanam, exhibiting. Shriyaha, of the goddess of fortune. Ipsita, the desired. Aspadam, place of shelter. Drakshe, I shall see. Mama, my. Asan, have become. Utsa Saha, the dawns. Sudarshana, auspicious to see. Translation, today I shall certainly see him, the goal and spiritual master of the great souls. Seeing him brings jubilation to all who have eyes, for he is the true beauty of the universe. Indeed, his personal form is the shelter desired by the goddess of fortune. Now all the dawns of my life have become auspicious. So there's no purport by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, but there's commentaries by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sanatana Goswami, and Rupa Goswami. So let's read them. Actually, I just want to comment something about the verse before we go ahead. There's actually several different topics in this verse. First of all, you have a crew who's very enthusiastic and looking forward to see him. This him means Krishna, of course. And then Akrura states, and we're going to unpack some of these things, that Krishna is both the sadhana and the sajja of the great souls. And I'm going to explain what that means later on, and the commentaries that actually brings that out too. And then the next point is that seeing him, which is a vibhava, stimulates jubilation, which is one of the bhavas. And the next one, he is the true beauty of the universe. All the beauty of the universe comes from him, and we're going to quote a verse in that respect. And the next point, actually there's many points in this verse, his personal form is the shelter desired by the goddess of fortune, but the goddess of fortune is unable to enter into the Braj pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in spite of performing thousands of years of austerities, because she's very attached to her position as the goddess of fortune, or opulence as the goddess of fortune. Now, all the dawns of my life become auspicious. He's achieved his perfection. So let's read the commentaries by the acharyas, and then we'll go back. I will certainly be able to see that blissful form seen by the discerning man, full of love, rus, and pastimes, which is the object of sight of Lakshmi, who resides on Vishnu's chest, because many dawns, nights, have been auspicious for me. If it were otherwise, I would not get the results I am about to receive now. So Srila Jiva Goswami in his commentary states, those are general qualities. What are the special qualities? This verse answers, today I will see him. The word to indicates that he has special fortune greater than all the Yadavas, because he's able to go to Vrindavan. I will certainly, Nunam, see him today. He is approachable by the great devotees and gives instructions. This indicates the goal, sajja, which is what I mentioned before, and the means, sadhana. It's interesting. And we're going to speak a little bit, if we have time, about how some of the aspects of things that we do are the sadhana and the sajja simultaneously, and some of the things we do are not the saja, but they're part of or assisting or helping with the sadhana. Previously, he explained Krishna's beauty in a general way. Now he gives details. His beauty surpasses that of anyone in the lower, middle, and upper planets, and even in Vaikuntha, including Maha-Narayana. He gives great joy to those who see him, his associates. The Lord of the city of Mahakala said, Dvijatmajat me yuvayor drikshuna mayopanita bhuvidharma guptaye kalavatirna vavaner varasuran hatreha bhuyas tvarayetam antime. I brought the Brahmana's sons here because I wanted to see the two of you who have descended to the earth to save the principles of religion. As soon as you finish killing the demons who burden the earth, quickly come back here to me. That's from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 1089-58. And of course, that's the story where in Dwarka, these Brahman sons kept disappearing. And the Brahmana held the king responsible. And generally, of course, in America, you don't hold the president responsible for bad weather or anything like that. But in the Vedic context, if there's bad weather or premature deaths, especially the death of a child, then the prime minister or the king would be held responsible, and then you could actually go and complain to him. Everybody had a right to go to the king. So anyway, so what happened is this Brahmana went to the king, and Arjuna was there at the same time, and Arjuna said, you know, I'm the great Arjuna. I'll be able to take care of this. No problem. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And so Arjuna stations himself. And before that, Arjuna says that if I'm not able to protect the Brahmin sons, then I will kill myself. I guess it's like the Japanese harikari or something like that. So anyway, so he wasn't able to protect the Brahmin son, and Arjuna got ready to kill himself, and Krishna said, not a good idea. Let's go get the Brahmin son. So they hopped on Krishna's chariot and went through all the different coverings of the universe, and finally they arrived at the Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu said, you know, I just did this to see you. So even Mahavishnu wants to see Krishna, because Krishna is so attractive. Anyway, let's continue. Uddhava says, Yadmarcha lila payikam svayoga mayabalam darshiyata grihitam vismapanam svasacha sobagarde parampadam bhushana bhushanangam. Krishna possesses that form suitable for human pastimes to show the full capacity of his yogamaya. That form astonishes even the Lord of Vaikuntha. It is the pinnacle of auspicious qualities and enhances the beauty of his ornaments. That's from Bhagavatam 3:2-12. Not only is that form more beautiful than all beautiful forms, such as Narayan, but it is attractive to the best of his Shaktis. Even Lakshmi, the shelter of all good fortune, desires to take shelter of that form rather than Narayana, Kashanubhavosya, the Deva Vidmahe, Tavangri Renu Sparshyadi Karaha, Yad Avonchya Shrir Lalanacharatabo, Vihaya Kaman Suchiram Jatavata. O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya has attained this great opportunity of being touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows, as I mentioned before. That's from Bhagavatam 10:16-36. As I mentioned before, the reason she couldn't enter, in spite of doing all that, is she was attached to her opulent mode of worship. It's interesting, also, The Acharyas state that if one simply remains on the Vaidhi platform of devotional service, rather than, of course, we should right now be on the Vaidhi platform and worship Radha and Krishna in the mood of awe and reverence of Lakshmi Narayan in that mood, unless we're actually on a higher level of devotional service. But if one simply remains on that level, then one goes to Vaikuntha rather than back to Goloka Vrindavan. But don't worry, right now, let's just work on our anarthas. Vishaya Chaidiya Kavi, Shuddha Havi Mana. I mean, if we think about all the anarthas that I mean, just personally, I mean, who is free from lust, anger, greed, illusion, envy, fear? Ooh. So basically, we follow Vaidhi. And when we do come to the platform of Raganuga, we also follow Vaidhi because Yadyada Chariti Shreshtas Tatat Evetaro Janaha. We want to set a good example for others. You know, it's not that one on the higher platform, or especially Prema, has to get up for Mangalarti or show that he or she is chanting their japa. They don't have to show that. But they do that to set an example for others, because if they set a bad example, then people will follow a bad example. By many mornings for a long time, I will be blessed with seeing him. There is no other result than this. This verse may also be considered a continuation of the previous 3 verses. How is it that he is hard to attain, and attaining him is glorified? If he is attained, how could he obtain so easily? You consider yourself most fortunate because of that easy attainment. The 4 verses answer. His rarity and greatness are expressed in the first 2 verses using Kaimutya. Because he glances with cause and effect, Sarvakarna Karnam, and is without absorption in the act, he can destroy all illusion and difference by his own Shakti. Being invisible to all, since he acts by his glance, he can only be inferred, but not seen in all beings, sadhaneshu, by jivas endowed with senses, and antakarana, who are unqualified to see him since they lack capacity in their own, being produced by his glance and his maya. Of course, Atakshi Krishna Namadi Dhammavet Graimendriya Seva Mukhehi Jivado Swameva Sparachada. That by our mundane senses we cannot perceive the existence of the Supreme Personality of God. We can perceive, as mentioned here, indirectly, or inferring that God exists. If we look at the material creation, if we examine the complexity of matter, especially on the cellular level or the microcellular level, and we see that all these things are going on, we can understand that there's a designer and there's a creator, but we can't actually perceive Krishna directly unless we purify our senses, jivado, especially with the tongue. Let's continue. Bhagavan sarva bhuteshu lakshita swatmana harihi drishyara bhudyadi bir drashta lakshana anuma pakai. The Shanta Bhakta sees the Supreme Lord and all beings by the mercy of Paramatma. The Lord and the Jiva are inferred by symptoms such as their observable intelligence. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.2.35. Even his anshas are hard to see as expressed in the following. So, ansha means his expansions. Vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam. I'm spread throughout the universe by just one of my portions. Bhagavad Gita 10.41. Verse 12 indicates the glory of attaining realization of even the expansions of the Lord. Verse 13 indicates the reason it is easy for a Krura to see the Lord. And verse 14 summarizes everything. Therefore, I am most fortunate. See, there's a lot of commentaries here. And then I want to read Sanatana Goswami's commentary, which is, okay, yeah, that's some new information. The greatness of his fame has been shown. I will today see that famous person. The word tu is an ornament meaning cha with the indications previously explained. Today I will see the teacher who is the goal of Brahma or the great devotees. He is the means of establishing what is to be proved. There's that sadhana and sajja again. After describing in general, particulars are given. He is the most beautiful in the three worlds. Mahatam also refers to Nanda and others. I will see the Lord who displays Didanam, a form which is desired by Lakshmi. Or I will see that form which makes the three worlds beautiful, Trilokya Kantam, by manifesting small parts, we're almost finished, of his beauty. There is beauty within the three worlds, or he destroys Antam, the happiness, Ka, of the three worlds. That's interesting. On seeing his form, one becomes detached from the happiness of this world. Not only is material happiness given up, but also the happiness of liberation. His beauty gives joy to those who see Atma, Drashiman. Now he gives happiness to the devotees. He is desired as the object of experience by the eyes, not just by merely seeing him, even by Lakshmi worship by all devotees. After many nights, the dawns are now auspicious. And so back to the verse. Quite a bit of information here. Tam tvajjanunam mahatam gatim gurum trilokya kantam drishimam mahotsavam rupam dadanam shya ipsitaspadam drakshe mamasan ushasa sudarshanaha. So, Omagana Timiranda Shah Gananjana Shilakaya Chakshuram Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So, first I want to recite a verse spoken by Srila Rupa Goswami. This is actually a beautiful verse. Smeram Bangitraya Parichitam Sachivistirna Drishtim Vamshi Nyastadara Kishalam Ujwalam Chandrakena Govindakyam Haritanum Itakeshi Tirtopakante Ma Prekshitastava Yadi Sakke Bandhu Sangesti Rangaha. And the translation which Srila Prabhupada gives. The idea is that one gopi is advising another gopi, and this shows us how we can become renounced from this world. Or if we don't want to become renounced, what we should not do. My dear friend, there is one boy, his name is Govinda. He is standing on the bank of the Yamuna near the Keshi Ghat, and he is playing on his flute. He is so beautiful, especially during this full moon night. This is a beautiful translation. If you have any intentions to enjoy in this material world with your children, husband, or other family members, then please do not go there. So, further translation. Bhangai Triad, Krishna always stands in a three-curved way with his flute. That is Krishna's Tribhanga form, bending in three places. So the one gopi says to the other, if you think that you'll enjoy your life more in this material world, then do not go to see Krishna, do not go there. The idea, these are Prabhupada's words. The idea is that if you once see Krishna, then you'll forget all this nonsensical materialistic enjoyment. That is seeing Krishna. So, and then there's another verse from the Bhagavad Gita I wanted to mention. It's 1041, which is in the commentary too. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam srijam orjitameva va tatadiva gachatvam mamatejam sasambhavam. Where Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, so we can understand how beautiful Krishna is, know all the opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Of course, that's in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in which is called the opulence is the absolute. And later on in the chapter, Krishna states, after mentioning many of the opulences, like of aquatics, some sharks, he says, what is the use of all this detailed knowledge? Because with a single fragment of myself, I pervade this entire creation. So, that is Krishna's beauty. And of course, we have many examples of how Krishna's beauty leads one on the path of renunciation. And there's one story I wanted to tell from Ramanujacharya's pastimes, and that's the famous story of Dhanur Das. Dhanur Das, of course, was very attached to his girlfriend. He was so attached to his girlfriend that he basically was going on a yatra. He didn't put her on a cart, but he was going on a yatra. He was fanning her, walking backwards, and holding an umbrella over her head. And you see this sometimes. I mean, I've had people come to the temple, not doing that, of course, come to the temple and just, like, in a daze, because they had fallen in love. And of course, unfortunately, after a few months, they were in a daze because they were sorely disappointed. Because happiness, the mode of passion, is like what? Nectar in the beginning, and after that, it is like poison. So the poor guy's suffering like anything. So anyway, so he's doing this with his girlfriend, and all of Ramanujacharya's brahmacharis, maybe not all of them, were making fun of him. I mean, obviously, if you saw that, even a non-devotee seeing that would actually think this is funny as hell. And so, basically, they were making fun of him, and Ramanujacharya said, just cool it. I want to speak to him. Bring him here. So he says to the guy, when he's brought there by the brahmacharis, why are you doing this? And the gentleman says, because she has such beautiful eyes. And Ramanujacharya says, of course, it's a famous story. He says, what if I show you someone with more beautiful eyes? Will that appeal to you? And the gentleman, Dhanur Das, says, yes, that will appeal to me very much. So that night they went to see the deities, and he fell in love with the deities, and he didn't get rid of his girlfriend. He got married to her, and they were so renounced that basically, I'm not going to tell the whole story, but they allowed the brahmacharis to steal jewelry right from his wife's body. And his wife, he was upset that they didn't get all the jewelry. They became so renounced. So anyway, this is a very important, actually it's a very important story. So therefore, getting back to the sadhya and the sadhana, which is really important, we can understand that the process of devotional service, which is one of the aspects of the process of devotional service, is seeing the deity, chanting the holy name. These are all aspects that can be put under the category of sadhana and sadhya. Just like we know, chanting the holy name. What is chanting the holy name? Namachintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnashuddha Nichimukto Vinatvam Namanamino. The name is completely spiritual. It is non-different from Krishna. So what do they do in the spiritual world? They chant Hare Krishna. And other names of Krishna too. I mean, Govinda, Gopal, Gauranga. They're chanting all the names of Krishna in the spiritual world. So this kirtan process is sadhana and sadhya. And decorating the deities is sadhana and sadhya. There's many different aspects. However, there are certain aspects of things we do that are not both sadhana and sadhya. And I'm going to make reference to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's discussion with Ramananda Roy, where he's asking Ramananda Roy, he's taking the position of student, and he's asking Ramananda Roy about, what's the goal of life and what's the method for achieving that particular goal. This is the context of that discussion. And this discussion took place on the banks of the Godavari River. And so, first of all, Ramananda Roy replies with the statement about Varnashram, which Varnashram chara vata purushena puran Vishnu rajate panta nanyatat tokshakarnam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varnashram. There's no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the four Varnas and ashrams. Of course, I'm not going to go through the details, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejects this as very much external. And he says, you better tell me of some other means. Now, it's interesting because Prabhupada at certain times indicated that he wanted us to apply certain aspects of Varnashram. That whole quote, you know, is 50% of my mission has not been accomplished. There's some question of whether that quote actually occurred. So just to let you know, we've had having discussion about that on the GBC conference because it's not in recorded form. So anyway, he says it's external. However, we do need to understand certain aspects of Varnashram. What is what is the individual's psychophysical nature, right? To engage them in Krishna consciousness. That's part of Varnashram. You know, someone is nature of Shudra, you better just like go to his ashram and wake him up and shake him in the morning to get him up from Mangalarti. Because he will not get up. He's a lower class, a lower type of Shudra. Actually, I was talking to Mother Irma the other day. She said there's certain Shudras who actually can have some motivation. You know, they have some passion in them. And certain ones, they're just ignorant. You got to light a fire under someone. And then, as Prabhupada said in the story about the lazy man, they'll say, it's hot. And their friend will say, just turn over. And I've seen people like that. It's hot. There's a fire in the house. That's all right. I don't feel like getting up this morning. So anyway, so we have to apply certain aspects. But this is not the sadhya. These are things that assist the sadhana. Like, you know, waking up early in the morning. Assist the sadhana. Cultivating the mode of goodness. Assist the sadhana. But the sadhya is something different. Sadhya is things, the goal, you know, is to go back to home, back to Godhead. The goal is to chant Krishna's holy names. The goal is to have attachment for chanting Krishna's holy names. So anyway, so Ramananda Roy continues, and then he cites this verse, Yat Kuroshi Yadachashi, Yat Dahoshi, Yat Tapashashi Kontia Tat Kurishwa Mad Arpanam, which is, you know, whatever you do, you should give the results to Krishna. But still, that's not, I mean, yes, someone who is Krishna conscious gives the results to Krishna, but that doesn't indicate the pure motivation. Because there's karma mishra bhakti. And then after that, just because we don't have much time, oh my God. Then Ramananda Roy talks about renunciation, giving up one's duties in Varnashram. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this is also external. I mean, it's not even the sadhana. Unless one gives up one's duties to surrender to Krishna. And then Ramananda Roy continues. Let's see. Of course, he quotes the verse from Bhagavad Gita 1866. And then Ramananda Roy continues, and he says, devotional service mixed with empiric knowledge. Empiric knowledge means knowledge of this world, or desires for liberation. And then he quotes Brahmabhuta Prasanamnanda Sochatina Kankshati, like this. And then Ramananda Roy finally comes to the point of pure devotional service without any touch of speculative knowledge is the essence of perfection. So pure devotional service is actually the sadhana and sadhya. And pure devotional service is contained within our Nava Bhakti process, all the aspects of Nava Bhakti, I was thinking about this last night, such as hearing, chanting, remembering, serving the lotus feet, are actually sadhana and sajja, and of course, ultimately, Atmanivedanam. So, anyway, this is what I want to speak about today. So, any questions or comments? We have 1 minute left. Mother Urmila. Yeah.
And it's like karma yoga, it's usually like that. I am a banker, therefore I will do that for God. I am a daughter, therefore I will do that for God.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get to Zen level, then it's I am soul.
Jnana Mishra Bhakti.
So that's the main distinction.
Yeah.
You know, the karma is done for God, but if you keep the upadi.
Yeah, you keep the upadi. But there may be some karma mishra bhakti there too. You're doing it for God, and you have your upadis. That was the point I made. But you also have some motivation there.
Yeah.
Have some motivation, personal motivation. So I think that's it, right? Sounds like it. He says, prema, well, he says also in the Abhilashatashunyam Jnana Karma Navritam, Anukuyena Krishnanushilana Bhaktirutamam. Pure devotional service. And then he says, go higher. Goes higher. It's not just prema. I was just reading that. Unalloyed, the essence of perfection, and Lord Chaitanya says, yeah. He says, this is all right, but you can speak more on the subject.
This is all right, and this is...
This is all right, but speak more on the subject. So Lord Chaitanya accepts it.
I think there's another final distinction, too.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Radha ki jai.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Go
Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajamihim Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajamihim Govindam. Jiv Jago, Gorachana Bo, Jiv Jago, Gorachana Bo, Kotanindra, Yamaya, Visajira Kone. Latayame Bajibo Ani say Samsara Vitare Puria Ruhile to me Apichagurapa Apijarapare Tomare Loite Ame Hoino Avatara Ame Pina Panuaraka Keache Tomara Ami Vina Banduara Kaya Jay Tomara Iniche Shoti Maya Nachi Baralagi Hajina Mama Naku Tumi Mage Bakati Vino Prabhu Charane Puriya Say Arjuna Mantra Toila Matia Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hati Rama 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 Ore Ore. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radha looking on the Radha looking on the Radha. Jaya Radha looking on the Radha looking on the Radha. Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Radha, Jaya Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravedikacharya, also Teta Satashi Shimad, His Divine Grace, Abhaya Charanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anandakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radhakrishna Gopa Gopinath Sayam Kund Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Mathuradam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Samveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is you, the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vasudaya Buddhale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharni Nivasesas Nirvati Paschachate Shatari. So read the translation. Lord Gaurachandra is calling. Wake up, sleeping soul. Wake up, sleeping soul. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the cycle of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. I am your only true friend. Me, what friend do you have? I have taught the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you suffer. Take this great chant for deliverance, Maha Mantra, the names of Hari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, falling at the Lord's lotus feet, takes shelter of the Harinam Mantra, the Lord's holy names. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Ki Jai. So, yeah, that's nice.
They're really good.
Very nice.
So the thanks has to go to Keshava and Sanatan, who did the original layout back, years and years and years ago. All the songs that they had in the original songbook that was worked out, I think it was Maharaj back then.
Yeah.
It was like 13. They've all been restored. Somebody had, in the intervening years, somebody had taken half the songs out of the songbook. So it's only 40 pages long, and now it's like 80. And also thanks to all the donors, a lot of people in the community donated for it, so the temple didn't have to pay a penny for this. And then thanks to Teaching Ryan Guru, who arranged for the printing and the binding.
Very nice.
Very pretty, all the pictures and everything too.
Very nice.
And to you, Shakti, who did the manual.
Okay. Shikshashtaka. Vitaranam, Vijavadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhivardhanam, Saswaranam.